What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. I am your host, Kevin Coleman. And on this episode of the Devy Royale in 5, we're going to be talking about a transfer quarterback that's heading to Oregon. But before we do that, what I want to point out to everybody out there is we just released our manifesto. And this manifesto has pretty much everything: early enrollments, depth charts for all Power 5 teams, summaries, outlooks, all of those things that you'd like to see, notable player stats, guys that you should do, our rankings, everything is there. And it's only $3 a month. And so you can go to the Patreon, and I'll put in the link in the description below. $3 a month, you get everything. And you get a Discord, and you get our rankings, and you get us 24/7 basically. And the manifesto is something that we're going to keep adding onto all year. So we're going to have updates. So every time we update, you get the new version for just $3. So we'd really appreciate you guys if you check that out. We already have over, I think, 20 Patrons, which we really appreciate. There. So check that out below. But let's dive into the Devy Royale 5. And today we're going to be talking about Bo Nix. Man, Bo Nix. So many jokes at Bo Nix's expense for the last couple of years in Devy. He was going very high in the first rounds of drafts a few years ago, coming into Auburn. A lot of people love Bo Nix, loved what he did in high school. It was a match made in heaven at Auburn, and it just didn't work out. And I think a lot of that has to do with Gus Malzahn. I'm not going to put a lot of it on Bo. I think Bo, didn't develop right, and I think that a lot of that's on the coaching staff. And, some of these kids go to places that they think are going to be best for them, and it wasn't. And we could be talking about a completely different Bo Nix had he gone somewhere else. And so when we look at what he did last year, so let's talk about him. 6'3", 214. 2021 season, he looked better last year. So he had 197, 323, 61% completion percentage, which is something that we always got to talk about with Bo. Not the greatest completion percentage, does make some errant throws, those type of things. But he had 2,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So he definitely dialed back the interceptions. He was in a new offense, and he was learning it, and he looked good. Then he got injured, and he was out for the year. But he looked better. And I'm not going to say that he's going to be of value, but I will say that he went to a pretty good spot. Now, when we think of Oregon and where he's at, he's going to be battling Ty Thompson, former 4-star kid from Arizona, very good. Jay Butterfield is there as well. So this isn't an open shut case for him to start. But new head coach Dan Lanning brought him in for a reason. SEC coach, knows Bo. They're going to compete. And this might be the best spot for him in terms of weapons that he has. He's got Byron Cardwell there, Seven McGee, but wide receiver, Hudson, Troy Franklin, who I am very high on, Deontay Thornton. These guys that have come in, he might have the best crew and the best surrounding cast that he's ever played with. Okay. Terrence Ferguson's there. Malaka Mateva, who I really like, is there. Patrick Herbert. They have some great tight ends on this roster as well. So when you're looking at from a weapon standpoint, he's probably at the best place he's been. So that's a positive. Now, as far as him, the things that he does well, he does have athleticism, and what I like to say is functional athleticism. He gets outside the pocket. He can get on the move. He does that pretty well. He's got good arm talent. When you watch him play, he makes throws sometimes that you're like, wow, that's an NFL-level throw. The problem is he'll mix those NFL-level throws up with 5 other throws that you're like, where the hell did that come from? And I think that's the perplexing thing about Bo. Then you get his release. He's got a quick release. He gets it out. He gets it out good. And the one thing about him, getting him out fast, he does have pretty good mechanics. For the most part, like when you watch him play, there are times where you can see the mechanics, and then there are times there. So it's really consistency that holds him back. He's got good creativity. He had to do that a lot at Auburn with that offense and with where they're going. He does do things that are good. So I don't want to – this isn't like a bashing of Bo, because I think Bo developed last year under Harsin in that system. And now we understand why he left Auburn. I mean, look at the mess that's going on there. So let's just take a look at some things that he did well. You'll see right there, like, even though that guy is wide open, very on base, look at his platform, gets it through quick, perfect spiral. Like, those are the things that he does really well. When he's not rushed and he has time, he does show, you'll see it here, knows where he's going, gets it to his receiver. Like, when he does that, that's the good Bo. And that's the type of Bo that you like to see as a scout, as a guy that you're like, hey, could he maybe do something? If you have him on some Devy rosters from a couple of years ago, you're excited about that, right? Okay. Again, when they use play action, he gets it under there. Arm releases great. On target, gets it to his guy. Like, those are the things that you like to see from Bo. And as a prospect, you like that. Now, he does have that release that you like to see. Gets it to his guy quick, Kobe Hudson. We actually talked about Kobe previously on the channel, so go check that out. But this is good Bo. Gets it to it quick. Doesn't have to make too many things happen overall. Looks through his progressions. So when he gets through his progressions, he makes the right read. And I think he was doing that last year. He was working on that progression type. He got into that mindset under the first 2 years of Malzahn. He had to do so much. He had to try too hard. He had to push it down the field. He had to take chances. He didn't do that last year. And I think that was good for his development. And again, he can make these throws. That's a legit throw with accuracy on the numbers for a touchdown. And you watch it here. These are the kind of throws that you say, hey, you know what? Maybe he can do this in the next level. And I think those are the things that excite you as a Devy manager. C2C, just like, hey, maybe he could be that guy in there. Again, he does well off of play action, knows where he's going, probably a pre-snap read here, perfect on the money to the corner of the end zone. So those are the things that you like to see. Now, again, level of talent. But again, against Penn State, game that they probably should have won, gets to the sideline, back shoulder throw, knew where he was going there. Again, if those are the types of throws that you like to see from them. And I thought he played well in this game, except for the couple of moonshots that he had. But again, quick release, gets on the back shoulder. He does those things well. And I think with Bo, and especially with that Oregon team with Lanning, they're going to lean on that rushing attack a little bit. I think that they're going to basically get it to them, and he's not going to have to do too much. So he's not going to have the pressure that he's had and he's consistently had at that level that he's played at. Now, where's he going as far as ADP? He's not getting drafted in Devy. So let's just clear that up real quick. I saw a 10-round Devy draft recently, 120 picks. He didn't go in the 10 rounds. But in C2C, he has 2 years of eligibility. So when we think of Bo, he's still got 2 years. We think he's been in college forever, but he's got 2 years of eligibility. Realistically, if he does well this year, he might enter the draft, but you could see him at 2 years. So you're looking at a Power 5 starter at Oregon with all those weapons around him going in the 30th and 40th round. I'm not saying it's a great pick, but I'm saying that if you get him for 2 years of projection, he's not a bad guy to kind of plug and play if you need a quarterback. You're looking at a 5th or 6th quarterback on your roster or whatever that case may be in terms of where your draft's at. That's not a bad value. I think that he's going to do well. If he can beat out Ty Thompson, that is not something that's going to be just, that's not dialed in already. But if he can beat out Ty Thompson, be that starting quarterback at Oregon for 2 years, I think he could be a value. I wouldn't say he's going to be an amazing fantasy asset to have in C2C leagues, but he's someone that can be serviceable. And when we're thinking of serviceable, I think he could be there. So I'm rooting for Bo Nix, though, because I think that he's got he's taking some bad shots from people out there that didn't understand just how bad that Auburn team was and the coaching staff just didn't develop. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Please check out the description below. Podcast, Patreon, everything is down there. Manifesto is here. We really appreciate all the support so far.